freaked out very, very badly. Freaked out on acid. I lived with.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to remake this video for ACO or for ACO DMT. I guess it's called for ACO, right, and not ACO4 because I fucked it up in the last video and got yelled at Reddit. Some assholes like, "This can't change it. It's like backwards, man. The chemical compound is like different. Gonna confuse people." Like, confuse who? Dumbasses that will probably like drink Drano or something. Pretty sure everybody knows it's for ACO. I guess some people call it DMT, some people don't. I guess it's closer related to mushrooms, but it's still listed as a chemical compound of DMT. Don't know why, that's what Wikipedia says. So, either way, yeah, the last video was about 30 minutes long, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I was pretty drunk when I watched it. In hindsight, I was like, I should probably remake this, because I'm like drunk and meandering. This time I'm relatively sober. I've only had 3 of these. Well, it's my 4th, so it's not much. So, here's my experience with it. Now, I tried regular DMT. We'll get into that story. I'll remake that story too, but the 4ACO, so I basically expected it to be like that. Dude gave it to me at a bar, actually. I had, it was that bar that I usually hang out with, and some dude came up to me, and I guess he recognized me from the 30 Hits video, and the 30 Hits of Acid video, or LSD. Now I'm calling it Acid too, because everybody else is. 30 Hits of LSD one, and we started talking and shit, and basically he's like, half an hour in the conversation, he's like, "Have you ever tried 4ACO DMT?" And I'm like, "No, I've tried DMT." He's like, "Never tried 4ACO?" I was like, at the time I never even heard of it, so I'm like, "No." And dude was like, he was cool, he's like, "Hey, well, I got some in my car, man. You want to try some?" I'm like, "Right now?" So I'm not really up for it right now. I'm not trying something new, at a bar at 1 o'clock in the morning. He's like, no, keep it, have it, keep it. I'm like, "Yeah." So I went out to his car, he gave me it. And he's like, "I tell you what though, man." It's like, just do like the end of like the redhead of a match. Like the redhead wood of match. He's like, do about the size of that, like a little. I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, don't do it like it's cocaine, man. If you were to do a line like that, you'd probably fucking die." It's like, "Really? Is that true?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." He's like, I do like a little off the end of a key, man." He's like, "But it's powerful." It's like, "All right, cool." So I took it home, and I basically sat on it. I sat on it for almost a year, right around a year. I don't remember exactly how long, but a long time. Just because when I got home, I looked at it, and it was too late in the night for me to do something, especially something new. And I sat on it. But then when I woke up the next day, I thought about it. I was like, some dude who like knows me from the internet, recognizes me from a YouTube video, and then he gives me like these fucking drugs I've never had before. I'm like, and I can't tell what it is. It's just a white powder. It looks like cocaine. I'm like, nah, you know what? This guy could like stalk me, or could give me rat poisoning or something, right? And so I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do this. So I didn't throw it away though. I sat up there for a while. Then after about a year, right, I got adventurous, and I kept thinking about that, right? And I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'll try a little bit." Did just as well. I didn't try the small amount. I tried a key, 2 keys, because for me with psychedelics, I always double. If someone says, only do 1 hit, I'll do 2. If someone says 2, I'll do 4. Not to infinity, but for first time things, I usually double it with psychedelics, just because, I have a lot of experience, so it's like, I don't know, just always do, because I don't like fucking around and have the anticipation of going on a good trip and stuff, and then it's like you only do what the recommended was, and you're like, well, I kind of feel it, but not really. It's like, fuck that, double it, then I'll make sure I feel it. That's just me. That's probably not good advice especially for young people, or new people. Anyway, I did it, and you know what? It was it wasn't like the DMT I tried before. It was more like mushrooms. I really couldn't tell the fucking difference. And I guess chemically there's only one chemical or something very slight that changes the compound to something, or from mushrooms. So whatever it is, just like mushrooms, I really couldn't tell the difference. A little bit more speedy maybe, but didn't really. It was like mushrooms. What I did like about it though is it didn't seem to last as long as mushrooms. It wasn't like a long time. I would do a small key, then I change it from the doubling to 1, and then you get higher, and it's like and it was instant. It wasn't say shrooms where you have to eat them and wait for a while. You don't have to fuck with it, eat some nasty ass shrooms or anything like that. But so it was bathroom, whoop, and then like almost like immediately, like I'd say within like 5 to 10 minutes, you're high, which is cool, because it goes right up your nose, and it was like instant, and then and you do it again, Code Anderson. So it was cool like that. So I basically, it was just like mushrooms, but towards the end, I'd been doing it like every day for like a week almost, something like that, and I think I did a lot. And I decided, like, instead of just like, I'm used to it, I know what to expect, I'm going to try to meditate. I'm going to try to use it for that purpose, for like spiritual purposes, right? Meditate and just listen to myself breathe and, different techniques, right? I mean, everybody has their own, and I did. And I got this feeling like, it was kind of like the normal feeling when I've done this before, under the influence of LSD, or mushrooms. You kind of try to get in touch with like the one, or like your environment, like the cosmos or the ethers, right? That's kind of like the superimposition, right? The outwardness, the macrocosm. There's all kinds of words for it. The astral plane, whatever. And yeah, I'm just listening to my heartbeat, breathing, relaxing, and I started to hear like this dull sound, and I don't know if it was a drug or me, but I started to hear like this it's like a frequency. It wasn't really a tone. Well, it was a tone, but it wasn't like a sound, and it wasn't coming from outside. I could tell it was in my head. I could tell the sound was emanating from in my brain, right in between my ears somewhere. And I just kept listening to it. And after a while, it was like, I was tripping pretty hard at this point, by the way. I did like good amount, with this in mind to do this. Oh, and I also enclosed myself kind of like this room. But I had all the lights off. I had no music, nothing, right? It was as silent as could possibly be, right? Silent as could be, living inside somewhere with, whatever. But so it was kind of like a decompression chamber, as best as I could make one. And so I'm listening to this tone after a while, and it got to the point where I noticed that my heart, instead of being slower, and breathing less and less, it got kind of more excited. Almost like it was kind of giving me an anxiety attack. And the harder I listened to this tone, this frequency, it was almost like alarms were going off at me, like stop, don't do it, stop. And I don't, again, all of this could be the drug, right? This could have, this all could be completely related to the drug and totally subjective, and I'm totally willing to accept that, and that's more than likely the case. But I'm just telling you what it is. So these alarms go off, and I'm having kind of almost like feeling like I'm going to have a panic attack. And it made me kind of nervous, right? Because I'm still meditating, and I know I'm really high, and the last thing I want to do is have a panic attack, because that's pretty much what, people call bad trips. There's a lot of just panic attacks, right? And but I just, kind of relaxed, talk myself down, just like, okay. But eventually, those alarms stopped, and they almost stopped almost like immediately. It was almost like something clicked in my head where I was just like, no, because the alarms are there for a reason. I felt like they were telling me, like, stop listening to this tone, And I continued to listen, and eventually those alarms just stopped almost right away. And all of a sudden I felt kind of a sensation of like, kind of not a little bit of out of body, but it was more like just like all of a sudden I was aware of like what was going on outside of me. I could like almost feel like the space, the distance between me and this wall, although I didn't know what that wall was anymore. It was basically like, instead of like feeling just yourself, I could feel like here too. I'm not saying it was like an astral projection thing, because I've never done that, except for in dreams, but like that's dreams, right? But I could feel this, like I feel like my body expanded like out here. It's hard to explain. And I started to feel kind of scared though. I was like, I felt like I felt like I was not within myself, but I was around me, but I was part of this space. And I didn't know what to make of it. It was like, and I just thought, and I kept meditating, kept breathing. I started to notice now my heart's beating really slow, like just, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know, but it was an alarming thought, but I didn't want to scare myself, because I wanted to keep listening to this tone, because it got louder. My heart got slower, and eventually, when I felt this outwardness, it was like I kind of felt scared, and I wasn't expecting that. But I felt like I like touched on something. Like I touched like kind of like the macrocosm, like the fiber of our universe, kind of like what makes us be. Your chi or your whatever, your bioelectric energy force or orgone energy, right, or whatever you want to call it, different names for it. I kind of felt like I was in touch with that, and that I felt was God. Like that is where we all came from. That is the end of time and the beginning. That creates and destroys everything. This is the universe. I felt like I kind of like woven my way into like what the universe is spun out of. But it wasn't a feeling of like oneness, like necessarily. It was more of a feeling like kind of felt really isolated. Like I felt like I was there, but I wasn't with it. But I felt like what that wasn't necessarily, I think a lot of people might call it God, or people who've had similar experiences might consider this to be God. I kind of felt like it was indifferent, like it didn't care. Like it wasn't a pleasant feeling, it wasn't an angry feeling, it was just more of indifference. Like it's just there. It wasn't conscious, it didn't have any feelings for me, it didn't have any welcoming message or any sort of warm, fuzzy feeling. And in fact, it was almost the opposite. I felt kind of like more like alone, and I kind of realized that I had this overwhelming feeling like nothing really matters anymore. Like this is it. This is the end of end. That like my life doesn't matter. My will doesn't matter. My desires don't matter. My consciousness doesn't matter. And also, my people that I love, people that things that I like. None of this matters anymore. It's all meaningless. It all is really just nothing. None of this matters, because what it is a manifestation of what I was feeling, which was with that microcosm, right? This outwardness. And it was weird. It was very strange. It was kind of depressing, kind of saddening feeling, and kind of was scared a little bit too. And it just felt like this, I don't know what it was, and I wouldn't say it was God, because, well, not in the common concepts of what people think God is. You think God, if there was one, it was all loving and forgiving and, heaven, and it's such a warm, fuzzy, happy feeling. Or even if you don't, even if it's more of a Buddhist way, where it's like, back into the fold, back into the one, back into the creator. And that's kind of more what I was going to shoot for in that meditation, because that's kind of where my beliefs were kind of, if it was, my beliefs would be mystical in the first place, would be over there somewhere, kind of in that field. But it wasn't kind of like the Buddha, if you want to call it, that concept of the God just was indifferent. We were manifestations of it. I was very aware that it was it. So the more I keep concentrating on this, I'm going to wrap this up. I didn't realize it's already this long. And I started to get nervous, and it started to kind of get the feeling like I should stop doing this. And as I started to pull away, I almost felt like it was trying to pull me with it. But with it would be to kill me. Like if I thought that if I were to kept doing this, my heart would eventually stop beating, or I would stop breathing, and I was starting to drool on myself, and I was like realizing that my breaths were getting really shallow and less. And I snapped out of it, but it was kind of frightening. I was almost scared to come out of it. And a certain part of me wanted to go to it, but a certain part of me knew that if I did, I would die. And that was it, And I came back with a feeling of isolation, feeling of that we're manifestations of it, but nothing really matters anymore. I don't matter, you don't matter, my loved ones don't matter, that we're just manifestations of it, and it doesn't care about us, and we're just here. It created everything, and it just goes, but also destroys if it's not in a current. If something opposes its will, but everything is it to begin with. So it's like just an outward momentum, and if there's anything that's breaking all my obstacles, if there's anything in its way, it just creates and destroys and continues. So we're like just manifestations of that. I guess that's it. I could keep babbling about it, but if I'm talking in circles, which I know I am, it's because I can't really explain it. I'm talking about concepts that I'm having a hard time grasping on a philosophical level myself. And so I keep taking another spin at it to try to, and it's not really working because I don't really understand what it is, and I don't understand, any way to describe it. Just as much as it'd be hard to describe to somebody what it is to be like on LSD. Think about that. That's a hard thing to describe. And trying to speak of an experience like that, I don't have the vocabulary or the articulation to be able to direct it in a way that would make sense, because it doesn't even make sense to me. But that was my experience on the 4-ACO, which was a lot different than my experience on the regular DMT, which I really haven't tried the regular DMT very, very much, and I need to try that again because, but that's it. I mean, I'm not, hopefully, who knows what was the drug and who doesn't, but I did like the drug, I did like the drug. The times that I didn't do that meditation thing, I felt like just like shrooms, and I like the fact that it was fast, I like the fact that it was easy to dose myself. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.